I came on board 79, started covering the team. Well, they had a blip in 82, but every coach from Bart Starr through Lindy Infante had successively worse career records until Bob Harlan hired Ron Wolf, and he turned this thing around. How did he do it?
Amazing story. A lot of people didn't think it was possible. Frank DeFord, who was probably the most respected sports writer in the country, wrote for Sports Illustrated in 1987 that it was time to close up shop here, move the team to Milwaukee. I mean, you remember the number of disgruntled players that just hated being here. Siberia, the NFL. Bruce Clark didn't want to come here. Ronnie Lott didn't want to come here. Brian Bosworth didn't come here. Every year, the question was which prime draft possibilities were letting it be known that they didn't want to play in Green Bay. What was it, like 12,000 no-shows for a November game with reasonable weather against Minnesota. Some of the rowdy affairs that went on. What year was that, like 77 when they tore the goalpost down in the final game against Detroit? Mm-hmm. Dave Roller was playing just because they beat a lousy Packers, beat a lowly Detroit game, and it was really a booze-fueled celebration. There were a lot of dark moments in Packers history.
But there's some things fans probably don't know about Ron Wolf, and I think some do, but, he could have been here years before then.
Yeah, he turned down the job. Parents brought him in to interview, but he didn't feel like he was going to get enough authority. And he decided before his interview was even over, he didn't want the job and left town. Bob Harlan deserves a lot of credit. He was the guy that convinced Ron Wolf to come here. He was the guy that guaranteed him that he wouldn't interfere, that he'd give him everything he needed to win, and Wolf took advantage of it. I remember that first coaching search. I covered that and interviewed people, him and others throughout it, and there was all the talk about Parcells, and Holmgren was the hot up-and-coming assistant. But I remember Ron always telling me that he didn't know about Parcells, wasn't sure he could get Holmgren, and he always kind of suggested to me that if all else failed, that he could hire Buddy Ryan, who had been a reasonably successful coach in Philadelphia and I think was unemployed at that point.
That would have been wild.
Yeah, just imagine Buddy Ryan in Green Bay.
That could have been fun.
I don't think things would have turned out like they did.